There's something so comfortable, almost seductive about being certain, right? That feeling of knowing you're right, that your beliefs are on solid rock. It feels safe. But today, we're going to talk about a different way of thinking, something that might actually be way more powerful, the art of generous skepticism.
So let me just start by asking you this, and I want you to really think about it. For any belief you hold, like really deep down, how sure are you? 100%? 99%? What if that solid ground under your feet isn't quite as solid as you think? This is the big question we're going to wrestle with.
All right, first up, the certainty trap. We're going to dig into why we're so drawn to being right. And look, it's not some kind of character flaw. It's a totally human thing. We're pulled towards certainty for some very real reasons. And knowing what those are, well, that's the first step to finding a better path. And here's the basic conflict that we're all living with. On one hand, we just crave certainty. It makes us feel like we have some control in a world that can feel pretty chaotic. It's like our shield against all the unknown stuff out there. But the reality is that our world is messy. It's always shifting. It's super complex. So our desire for simple, neat answers is constantly bumping up against how things actually are.
And this really gets to the heart of it. That feeling of being absolutely 100% certain, as solid as it feels, a lot of the time, it's an illusion. It's a story we tell ourselves so we can feel secure, but it doesn't always line up with the kind of fragile, always changing nature of truth itself.
So this is where it gets really interesting. When does that attachment to being right stop being a comfort and start becoming, well, a problem? There's some hidden costs to being completely certain, and they can be huge. We're talking about how it affects our relationships, our ability to learn, the whole shebang. A much healthier way to look at our knowledge is to see our facts as just working hypotheses. I mean, think about it. History is literally filled with ideas and facts that everyone thought were indisputable, rock-solid truths until they weren't. This doesn't mean you can't have strong beliefs. Not at all. It just means maybe we should hold them a little more lightly. Oh man, this is such a critical difference. Wanting people to see things your way? Totally normal. That's just being human. But needing them to agree with you. Now, that's a trap. That's where things go wrong. That need is what fuels so much conflict and just shuts us down to other people. And really, this is what it's all about. The goal isn't to win every single argument. The world has plenty of that. What we really, really need are more people who can just sit with disagreement, who can handle that difference, and still see the person right in front of them with respect.
Okay, so if the certainty trap is the problem, then what's the solution? This brings us to the core idea here, something called generous skepticism. And it's a really powerful alternative to that rigid, gotta-be-right mindset.
So what is it exactly? It's really a state of mind. It's being willing to hang out in that kind of uncomfortable middle space, to stand in ambiguity without that frantic need to just rush to a conclusion or pick a team. It's all about having patience with complexity.
And let's be super clear about what this is and what it isn't. Generous skepticism is not about being wishy-washy or not having any beliefs. It's the opposite, really. It's the mature understanding that your views are provisional. They're based on what you know right now. And hey, they could change. That's a sign of wisdom, not weakness.
Okay, so all of that sounds pretty good in theory, right? But how do we actually do this, in our real everyday lives? Let's walk through some actual steps we can all take to put this into practice. First off, it starts by just getting in the habit of questioning your own certainty. Just ask yourself, how sure am I really? Then you can practice holding two opposing ideas in your mind at the same time. It feels weird, but it really stretches your thinking. And this one is huge. In any disagreement, make a real effort to focus on respecting the person, not on winning the point. All of this leads to the last step, learning to live in the grayscale, letting your mind stay flexible and your heart stay open. So let's wrap this all up. If there's one big takeaway, it's this. Learn to live and even thrive in the grayscale. The world isn't black and white, so our thinking shouldn't be either. An agile mind and a soft heart, those are pretty much our greatest assets in this complicated world. If you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this mantra right here. It's just a beautiful summary of the whole philosophy. Sometimes we'll be right, sometimes we'll be dead wrong, but there should always be room for doubt, because that little bit of space, that's where all the learning and connection happens.
So I want to leave you with this to chew on. Thinking about your own life, your own convictions, what's just one belief you're holding on to really tightly that maybe starting today you could decide to hold just
a little more lightly.